components. What is an ecosystem? All the biotic components such as plants, animals, and microorganisms, as well as the abiotic components comprising of physical factors like temperature, rainfall, wind, soil, and minerals interact with each other and maintain a balance in nature. The interaction between the biotic and the abiotic components of the environment is known as ecosystem. An ecosystem can be natural or artificial. For example, forests, lakes, and ponds are natural ecosystems, and gardens, crop fields, and aquariums are artificial ecosystems. What are the different groups of organisms in an ecosystem? Organisms in the ecosystem are grouped as producers, consumers, and decomposers based on the manner in which they sustain themselves in the environment. What are producers? Producers are organisms that produce their own food without the help of any other organisms, also called autotrophs. They make their food from inorganic substances. All green plants and certain blue-green algae, which can produce food by photosynthesis, are producers. What are consumers? Consumers are organisms that cannot produce their own food and depend on producers or other consumers for their food. Consumers are also known as heterotrophs. Consumers can be classified as herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and parasites. Herbivores feed on plants for their food. Examples of herbivores are zebra and cow. Carnivores feed on other animals for their food. Carnivores include lion and tiger. Omnivores feed on both plants and animals for their food. Omnivores include man, crow, and so on. An animal or plant that utilizes the resources of the host for food, habitat, and dispersal is called a parasite. Parasites include female mosquitoes and Cuscuta plant. What are decomposers? Decomposers are microorganisms, mainly bacteria and fungi. They are also called microconsumers or saprotrophs. They help to decompose the dead remains of organisms. In the process, complex organic molecules are broken down into simpler inorganic molecules that go into soil. The decomposed material is used up by other organisms, primarily plants, as nutrients for their substance. What is food chain? The flow of energy from one organism to the other, taking part at various biotic levels, forms a food chain. Food chains describe the feeding relationships between organisms within an ecosystem. Let us take this chart as an example. It depicts the different organisms that are connected in an ecosystem. The arrow in the chart connects the lower level organism, that consumed by the higher level organism. These arrows show the flow of energy transfer, the way energy is passed from the producer to the consumer. What are the trophic levels in a food chain? The successive levels in the food chains of a community are referred to as trophic levels. Trophic levels are categorized as per their feeding behavior. The autotrophs of the producers, that is in the plant, are at the first trophic level. The herbivores, or the primary consumers like bees, insects, sheep, cow, come at the second level. Small carnivores like rats and snakes are secondary consumers that come at the third level, and larger carnivores like an eagle are tertiary consumers form the fourth trophic level. The food taken by organisms acts as fuel and provides energy for their work. How is energy transferred in food chain? Autotrophs capture the energy present in sunlight and convert it into chemical energy. This energy supports all the activities of the living world. From the autotrophs, the energy through the food chain goes to the heterotrophs. So, when one form of energy is changed to another, some energy is lost to the environment in forms such as solid waste, movement energy and heat energy, which cannot be used again. Therefore, only a small amount of energy is transferred to the next trophic level. What is the amount of energy that is transferred from one trophic level to the next? The green plants in a terrestrial ecosystem captures about 1% of the energy of sunlight that falls on their leaves and convert it into food energy. When these green plants are eaten by primary consumers, a great deal of energy is lost as heat to the environment. Some amount goes into digestion and in work. The rest of the energy goes towards growth and reproduction. Only 10% of the food eaten is turned into its own body and is made available for the next level of consumers when they feed on these organisms. Therefore, 10% can be taken as the average value for the amount of organic matter that reaches the next level of consumers. The limited energy availability limits the number of trophic levels in a food chain. There are generally a greater number of individuals at the lower trophic levels of an ecosystem. The length and the complexity of food chains vary greatly. Each organism is generally eaten by two or more other kinds of organisms, which in turn are eaten by several other organisms. The plants and fruits are eaten by goats, cows, rats, and rabbits, and subsequently rats being eaten by owls or snakes or cats. Instead of a straight line food chain, the relationship can be shown as a series of branching lines called a food web.
In this module, you will learn about biomes and ecological niche. A biome is a large community of plants and animals that occupies a vast region. It never remains constant and gradually changes with time. These plants exist on Earth. Did you know that the Earth we live on is one large biome? It has two major types of biomes. They are land biomes and aquatic biomes. These are further divided into various categories. Land biomes include the tropical rainforests, grasslands, temperate evergreen forests, hot deserts, frozen tundras, taiga, etc. Have you ever seen an aquatic biome? Aquatic biomes are mainly divided into two types. They are freshwater biomes and marine water biomes. Freshwater biomes mainly include ponds and rivers, while marine water biomes include the oceans and estuaries. The survival and well-being of a biome and its organisms depends upon the mutual relationship between them. What is niche? Niche is the functional role of an organism and its habitat. Ecological niche means the place where an organism lives and its function towards its habitat. It describes the physical habitat of a living being and how it has adapted to life in that habitat. For example, the ecological niche of a tree that grows in a garden is absorbing sunlight, water, and nutrients for photosynthesis, providing shelter and food for other organisms like bees and ants, and giving off oxygen into the atmosphere. You have now reached the end of this module. In this module, you learned that a biome is a large community of plants and animals that occupies a vast region. Land biomes include the tropical rainforests, grasslands, temperate evergreen forests, hot deserts, frozen tundras, and taiga. Aquatic biomes are divided into two types: freshwater biomes and marine water biomes. Ecological niche means both the place where an organism lives as well as its function